In previous videos, we did deep dives into building voice agents for assisting web browsing or screen sharing from the ground up using Google's Gemini Live API. That approach gives us full control over the real-time interaction with the LLM models, but it required a lot of technical expertise for sure. So we had to manage the raw WebSocket connections and handle real-time audio resampling and streaming, and navigate the complexities of Chrome extension architecture, and front-end development and back-end development in Python. But what if we want to build a similar multimodal assistant without all that low-level engineering or coding? Well, in this video, we are going to solve that. This is where a platform like ElevenLabs provides a powerful and much simpler alternative. Okay, so this is the ElevenLabs. Instead of writing complex backend logic, ElevenLabs allows you to create and configure your conversational agents in the conversational AI section through a no-code web interface. You can define your agent's personality and roles like the support agent, chess coach, game character, and the voice type from a large pool. And also you can create the custom tools by filling out the forms in their studio. So let's quickly see how the conversational AI provides. Let's try a call by using the support agent with the voice called Eric.
Hi there. I'm a support technician from Laptop Care Solutions. I understand computer issues can be frustrating, but I'm here to help get things sorted out. To start, could you tell me what kind of laptop you're using? Windows or Mac?
Yeah, I'm using Mac.
Thanks. And what seems to be the problem you're experiencing with your Mac?
So how to install the Windows platform into the Mac?
Okay, I understand you'd like to install Windows on your Mac. To clarify, are you hoping to replace the Mac operating system entirely, or do you want to run Windows alongside it?
Yeah, I just want to run a typical software in Windows for some time.
Thanks for clarifying. There are a couple of ways to run Windows software on your Mac. One option is using a virtual machine, which lets you run Windows inside Mac OS. The other is using Boot Camp Assistant, which lets you install Windows on a separate partition and choose which operating system to boot when you start your Mac. Which method would you prefer, or would you like me to explain the difference in more detail?
Okay, so that's the quick demonstration of ElevenLabs. Even you don't need to do anything in the backend. So you can see it can provide great interaction over voice, but the problem is it cannot see image that you want the agent to see. So in this implementation, the only significant code required is for the tool implementation itself. We need to define a function that to be the tool of this agent to perform the image recognition when it needs to see the image that you want it to see. For example, the screen you are looking at in your web browser, you want the agent to see as well. So you can integrate these tools into the agent. So today we are going to start with a default Next.js project provided by ElevenLabs and build upon it to create a web client that interacts with an ElevenLabs agent, equipping it with a custom tool to see and describe your image. Okay, let's first see the real-time demo. This is the page in Next.js development, and with the existing components that provide by ElevenLabs package. So you can see still ElevenLabs logo with ElevenLab. Here I add a screen sharing button that makes sure the user can select the window or select the tabs that they want to share with the agent. So let's first share our screen by click here. I choose this page. This is the error page from the x.com. And then we can start the conversation by click this button. Let's start.
Hey there, I'm your real-time assistant from ElevenLabs. How can I help you today?
Yeah, hello. I have a problem to use this website. So can you tell me what's going on here?
I can definitely help with that. To give you the best guidance, could you describe what you're seeing on the screen or what you're trying to do on the website? If it's easier, you can also point me to a specific part of the screen that's giving you trouble.
Yeah, you can look at by yourself.
Got it. I'll take a look at the screen. Is there anything specific you'd like me to focus on, or should I just start with a general overview?
Yeah, just a general overview and let me know what's going on.
Okay. It looks like the website, X, formerly known as Twitter, is displaying an error message. It suggests that some privacy-related extensions might be causing issues and recommends disabling them before trying again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, good. Thanks for that.
You're welcome. Glad I could help. Is there anything else I can assist you with regarding this issue, or is there anything else on the website you'd like me to take a look at?
Okay, so that's great, right? The conversation is very smooth and the reaction of the agent is very natural. It's even more natural than Gemini, I think. Let's go to the home page of your account to create an agent in ElevenLabs. So let's build agents. Click here. This is the existing agents that I created already. And you can also create a new agent by clicking the new agent here. Let's go into my support agent. And there's a lot of predefined parameters that already be perfect for the predefined role of your agent. For example, the language and the first message, which will be spoken by the agent at the first interaction as entry. And the system prompt, you can define a lot of behavior or attitude or the backend knowledge base of this agent. Here, I didn't do a lot of changes here. And also you can choose the different LLM that you want to equip the agent. So here I just used the Gemini 2.0 Flash 001. So because it's the cheapest LLM in this list, I just want to make a simple test. The key parameter here is the customer tool. Inside the section of the tools, you can add the tools for the webhook or the client, which can be defined in the tool section. You will see here I add a client tool called CImage. The client tool means the agent call the tool, it will call inside your code base like a function. But if you add a webhook tool, you can define its URL, because this tool can be deployed on some server as a HTTP service, and then anytime the agent need to call this tool, send a request by your definition to the URL you defined to get the response from this request. And here I defined a CImage tool as a client tool. When I click into this tool, you will see the name is CImage. The description here is to use the tool to check the current screen content as an image when the user's query seems related to any visualized objects on their screen. So I ask the agent to call this tool when it feels that it needs to see something under the user's query. And I also provide a response timeout as 10, I believe. Yeah, 10 seconds to make sure the image recognition can be handled in time. And the parameter here, I just give a one parameter as a string type called image prompt, and using the LLM prompt as a value type, which means the LLM in the agent will decide stream will use to set into this parameter image prompt. So what I mean here is the image prompt derived from the user's query about an image, and the agent will ensure the image prompt is clear for the model to understand the visual object it is requesting. Okay, so I will introduce this tool implementation later. So For the high level understanding, you should know the tool is to ask for a current image from user's screen as a text description. Okay? Let's go back to the agent. You will see that's the only settings here from the default setting. And even we can choose a different voice. But here I just use the default Jessica for English voice. And there's a lot of settings that you can set for different feelings of this voice. This is overall agent definition on the platform. So our next step will be to add this agent using its unique ID and integrate into our Next.js project as an API to call this agent. So if you still don't know what's going on here, I will give you a full picture by demonstrating these block diagrams for the architecture of this project. So from here, you can see this is our Next.js app that we will introduce the code later. This is the agent that we created and deployed on ElevenLabs. And this is the model endpoint on OpenRouter.ai platform. And we choose the Mistral small model for this image recognition. So this is the 3 sections in our project. Let's see the workflow. First, the user will click the Start Screen Sharing button on the page. That will trigger the process of screen sharing. When he chooses the tabs or screen that he wants to share, the screen share capture block will keep capturing the screenshot and save the images in the local cache in a certain period. That will make sure in the local cache there's always a most recent image that is stored and wait for the later processing. And then the user speaks. When the user speaks, the Next.js app streams the microphone audio to the ElevenLabs agent. And if the user asks the agent about looking at something, the agent will decide to use our predefined tool called CImage, and that tool will automatically send a request back to our app to the block of image recognition processing. This processing block then runs the CImage function, which takes the latest screenshot from the screen shared storage and send it to an external vision model. Like I said, we use the Mistral Small for its quick and cheap inference and use the OpenRouter API. That API call will send back a text description based on the tool call prompt back to the image recognition in our Next.js app. Our function will then pass that description back to the ElevenLabs agent here, and the agent will get this text generation and put it into the processing of its own model inside the agent. This will finally be used for forming a spoken response and streaming the audio back to the user. And then you will hear the answer from the model, and the model answers with visualization. So that's it. And we already create the agent. Also the model endpoint is already there on the platform of OpenRouter. All right, let's jump right into the code. To get started, you will need an ElevenLabs agent already created that we have demonstrated before. I guess you have that already. Maybe you should add some money to extend the usage of the credit in the ElevenLabs, but for test, the free tier is enough to do. So first thing we needed to do is to create a new Next.js project using the official ElevenLabs template. The creation process is very simple. When you go to the documentation section of ElevenLabs, go to the conversational AI and find the guide in the quick starts with the Next.js, and in that page you will see the whole process of creating Next.js project with a default template. So what you do is very simple. So you can see this is the existing default page effect that you will have by goes through the process. The first step of the setup is to use the npm create command to create the new agent, and go to that folder after creation, install a very important ElevenLabs React dependency that including all the basic stuffs for ElevenLabs agent. And when you need to test, you just run an npm run dev to start a web page on your default port 3000. And then what you should do is to change two files. One file is in the components called conversation tsx, written in TypeScript. Just copy this code into that new created file, and also update the main page to replace the content of the existing page tsx file in Next.js with this easy front end to show the UI of this conversational AI agent. That's it for initialize the basic of this voice interaction agent. Now let's add the image uploading and processing into it to make sure it has the full multimodal real-time interaction capability. So this is the code base that derived from this initial template, but I add some certain files to implement further. So here we will be working almost entirely in this file con ai.tsx under the component folder. The only other file that we need is a simple API route to securely provide a connection URL to our front end, and also a little bit change on the UI and effect by adding that screen sharing button. That is enough for our customized project. In the root.ts file, this small piece of the code uses the official ElevenLabs Node.js library to generate a temporary but secured WebSocket URL for our front-end client to connect to. This is a good practice as it keeps your API keys of the client, like this agent ID. Now let's move into the main code in con AI tsx to break this code down. First, at the top of the component, we use React user state and useRef hooks to manage the application state. We have is screen sharing to track if screen sharing is active. We have the capture image, which will hold the base 64 data URL of the latest screenshot in our local storage, and a couple of refs to hold the live media stream and set interval timer so we can clean them up properly. Okay, now for the core of our multimodal functionality, the client tools object and the see image function. This is the really critical part of the whole project. So what the function is actually doing is, first we check if we have captured the image, then it constructs a fetch request here to the OpenRouter API by carrying the text. This is the instruction for you on the image. Please directly answer the question from the image prompt that's given by the agent, and also an image URL that actually carry the base 64 image data into the whole API to OpenRouter endpoints. In that endpoints, we use the model under Mistral AI, Mistral Small 3.2, 24B instructor model with the free tier. Definitely, you can also use other vision model for higher quality or for faster inference. And once OpenRouter sends back a response, our function grabs the text description here and returns it. That returned text is what the ElevenLabs agent will use to speak its own answer. Okay, so this actually is the tool response. Very simple, right? And then next up is the screen share logic. The start screen share function uses the standard browser API navigator media devices get display media to ask the user to share their screen or tabs or window. once it gets the stream, it starts an interval to call capture stream, call capture screen here with an interval of 3 seconds. The capture screen function defined here is what takes a single frame from the live video stream. It draws the video frame onto a hidden canvas, resizes it to keep the file size smaller enough to send over the internet. Data URL is then saved to our set capture image function here as a capture image state. And when we move back, finally we have the start conversation function. This now gets a signed URL from our API route and passed both it and our client tool object to conversation start session here. This securely connects the ElevenLabs and regests our CImage tool to the agent. Okay, and there you have it, a full functional multimodal voice assistant that can see your screen, built on the top of the default ElevenLabs template, which you don't need to care about the UI and front end stuff. And also you don't need to care about the internal implementation of the agents and how the agents call the tool. As you see here, it's actually pretty straightforward once you break it down, especially compared to building everything from scratch like what we do before by using the Gemini API or a local deployment solution. Again, the source code for this tutorial is linked in the description below, so feel free to play around with this code and make it your own. From here, you could take this and expand it by adding morph tools, like one that can search the web, that additionally increase the capability of your agent. That's all for today. If you have further questions or ideas, please drop them in the comments below. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.